All right, everyone, welcome. Can you believe it? It's the beginning of our application already. We're so glad that you came to join us this afternoon as we're going to talk through what the American Indian College Fund has to offer Native students. My name is David Bledsoe. I'm the Senior Manager of Student Engagement and Communications here at the College Fund. And joining me is our brand new Scholarships Manager, Juan Ruiz. So we're both going to be,
Everybody.
yeah, good to see you, Juan. Uh, I think we've both been shut up in our houses for a while, so it's great to talk to all of you who joined us today. Um, During this time, we're going to go through the Full Circle Scholarship application, talk to you a little bit about how you can benefit, how to apply, what the best practices are, all of that. A couple of things I want to remind you of. One, you can post questions into the chat. And then also, we're going to have an interactive feature, which I will share here in just a second. Let me change over to our presentation right now. And with this great tool that we have called Mentimeter, you can also interact live with questions that we have. So you can either scan this QR code that you see on the screen now, or you can open up a new browser, or use your phone, go to menti.com and enter that code right there. And I'll ask Ben Molzone, who's one of our other communications associates. He's going to enter in that code and menti.com into the chat. You can put that in, and all of a sudden, everything that we present will be live on your screen. There'll be some questions you can answer. There'll be a place for you to put in questions there, so you can put questions into menti.com at the end, or you can do it in the chat through Zoom. And then, of course, we have prizes. So we have lots of great prizes. We have, of course, our natives t-shirts. We have a couple of tablets. We always give away tablets. We have earbuds. We have a couple other things. So once we get to the end, we'll have a survey. If you fill out that survey, you'll be entered in win any of the prizes. I think we're giving out more than 10 prizes today. So be sure to stick around. Our presentation is actually not going to be that long. I think we'll be about 30 minutes, but all of you can stay on for the rest of the hour to ask questions for both Juan and I. And we'll do our best to answer those to you. Now, this will also be recorded. That recording will be sent out to everyone that registered and will be available on our scholarships page. So the main page that we talk about during this webinar. There'll be a link to that at the top, probably tomorrow or the next day. So you can watch that again if you choose. And there's a lot of other great tools which we're going to get into. So are you ready, Juan? Great. So
Let's jump into it. Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So let me share my screen again and we will get started. So there's that code one more time. If you want to interact, it's a lot of fun. We love the students love when we go through this. So let's get started. So our first question is, are you excited? So do you need 10 more minutes? Are you loving it, or is it time to dance? Come on, tell me how excited you are. You can put little hearts into the space here. You can see West Studio there, grooving in reservation dogs. So I'm glad that you guys are excited. We're here to be a resource for you, and this event is just one part of that. Juan and our team of scholarship professionals are going to be here the whole time to support you through your application process. So the American Indian College Fund Full Circle Scholarship, the application opened today, and that is for the next school year. So that is for 2022 and 20 through 2023. So this is for those who are going to be full-time students in the next school year, not now, not this summer, but in the next school year. Now, the application deadline isn't until the 31st, but we don't want you to wait that long. So that's one of the reasons we're having this kickoff event now. We want to talk through all the important things you need to know to apply. And the place that you apply is collegefund.org/scholarships. That's the only place that you can apply. So you want to go there whenever you're ready to apply or start checking it out. If you want to get tips, all of those things are there for you to help you do a successful application for the scholarship support that we have. So does anybody know how many different scholarships actually make up our Full Circle Scholarship Program? because it's not just one scholarship, it's a lot of different scholarships. And we have literally thousands of students that we fund every year. Last year, we funded more than $9 million to students. So I've got a lot of people thinking 50, 100. I won't keep you guessing for too long. It's actually, it says more than 100. We're usually around 100. That's not usually set until a little bit later, but it's around 100. And all these different companies that you see, organizations, they're all providing individual scholarship opportunities within the Full Circle Scholarship. So when you're applying to the Full Circle Scholarship, you're actually applying to all of these different opportunities, which is why your application is so important, because we will match you to the opportunities that are going to be best for you and your needs, depending on where you're going to school, what you're studying, what you're doing in your community. All those types of things are going to be taken into account. So when you're thinking about that, it's really important that you give us a lot of information in the application so we can pair you with the best opportunity. Now, like I said, last year, more than $9 million were awarded to almost 4,000 students. And you can be one of those students. It's really important that you apply and that you give us as much information as possible. We're going to be going over that with our application review. And I'm going to test you on one of the first things, which is eligibility. So there's a couple of questions here. Not all of them are quite right, but here's some eligibility things. I want you to say whether these are true or not. So you must be an enrolled tribal member. Is that an eligibility requirement? You must have a 2.0 GPA, or you must attend a tribal college. Which of those things do you think are an eligibility requirement for the Full Circle Scholarship? I see a lot of people saying enrolled tribal member. Okay, I see some people getting a 2.0 GPA. That's a good start. And there's just a few people saying you must be a tribal member. So let's go to our eligibility here and cover this, because some of those were correct and some of them were half correct. So for one, you must be US citizen. You must be a tribal member or descendant. So you do not have to be an enrolled tribal member, but if you have a parent or grandparent that are a descendant, you can still apply for funds from the American Indian College Fund. You must, those parents or you must be a member of a state or federally recognized tribe. The 2.0, that was the one that was absolutely correct. So you must have at least a 2.0 GPA to apply. And that can also be a conversion from a GED program. If you've already been to school in the past and are coming back to a school, or if it's you coming straight out of high school, that's what we want. You must be a full-time student. All of our opportunities are for full-time students in that 2022-2023 year. So those are the requirements right there. And there's a lot of different questions that we can ask. We're going to cover a lot of those today and, of course, answer your questions. But there's also some great resources on our website, which we'll also cover. So here's the next question. What do you actually need to apply to the Full Circle Scholarship? What do you need to actually go into our online system and apply? So is it proof of enrollment or descendancy? Is it a selfie picture or an official transcript? And some of these are kind of half right, or some of them are completely right. I see everyone saying proof of enrollment and descendancy. I kind of gave you a big hint with going over the eligibility requirements already. An official transcript. A few people said selfie picture, but let's go over those as well too. So we want a nice photo of you, no selfies. It's real easy for you just to take your camera and take a selfie, but we'd like a nice photo because we share, if you're choosing for an award, we share your basic profile information with the donors who provide funds. They want to know what students that they're providing funds for. They want to know what they're studying, what their goals are. So a lot of the information that's in your application we'll share with our donors just to kind of let them know the impact that they're having. But please, wear something nice, have a friend help you take a picture and get a good picture if you don't have something that's professionally taken. It doesn't need to be professionally taken, but not a selfie. The one that was completely correct, like I said, was proof of tribal enrollment and or descendancy. So most people, if they're using descendancy as their proof, will provide the ID card or a certificate of Indian blood or whatever it is that their parent or grandparent has. And then they will also provide their birth certificate to show that they are related to those people. And then finally, a transcript, it does not need to be official. And the main reason for that is if you're chosen for an award, we have to verify that with your school anyway. So we do need a cumulative GPA on your transcript, but it can be just a screenshot of your basic transcript from the website of your school if you need to submit that. So those are the only three things you actually physically need to put into the online application. Our next one here. This is a really important tool is the application walkthrough video. We have a brand new one that's up. And one of the main reasons for that is because we have a new application platform this year. So if you've applied for the Full Circle or Travel College Scholarship in the past, you'll actually see a different system. But that's something new that we've created to better serve all of you. So this will be on the main scholarships page. This will be on the application tips page. It'll be on the frequently asked questions page. There'll be links to it. You'll be able to watch this. It's only 5 minutes, but it's going to take you through a lot of these same things we're going to cover today. But if you need a reminder, you're say, I don't know if I need to click this part or what I need. This is a great tool just to watch, just to kind of get the run through of what you need to do online. And like I said, that's posted several different places. So now we're going to get into the application itself. So I'm going to turn it over to Juan, and he's going to take us kind of step by step through this new system that we have. And that's one thing that you can talk to them about, Juan, is who needs to sign up for this new system, especially if you're a returning scholar.
Yeah. Thanks, David. And hey, everybody, thank you so much for making it this afternoon. We're so excited and stoked to be talking to all of you and to be showing you this new portal that we have. So David prompted a question of who needs to go on here and make a new account and apply. The answer to that is all of you. Because we have transitioned to a new portal for applications that is much easier. It is much more intuitive. There's good flow to it that will walk you through all of the steps. Every single person has to complete a new profile with the new platform. We've migrated from one platform called Civicor to this new one. And so none of your old data, none of your login information will transfer over from the old platform to here. So you are all new users. To sign up, you can simply click on the sign up button, and you can make an account by providing your email and your password. Super simple, super easy. Do make sure to write that down somewhere that you won't forget, because if you are awarded, you're going to have to log back into this portal later on to see the award details and provide more information. But in short, everybody needs to complete a new account. You will need to create a new account and file a new application if you're going to be enrolled in the fall of 2022 and in the spring of 2023 to be considered for a potential scholarship. Let's go to the next slide. So the application is, like I said, it's very, very intuitive and it's brand new. You can tell it's got emojis and all the cool stuff that people do these days. It's slick looking because it's 2022 and we have iPhones and it's great. Though it works much better if you fill it out on a computer. I highly encourage you to do it on a desktop computer or a laptop. I don't encourage you to do this on your phone. When you come here, the first thing that you're going to complete is the profile, and the application will walk you through that. And after you build a profile, the second section that you see at the bottom of the screen here will appear. And so this has links to tips and the FAQs. If you get stuck and you are not sure if you what you need to provide to prove the ascendancy or enrollment, you can click on the FAQs. You can click on the chatbot feature, and that's an automated system that you can ask questions to. And if you get absolutely stuck and you're not sure how to proceed, you can call that 1-800 number Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for help. And you can talk to me or one of my colleagues, and we can assist you with any questions that you have. And then lastly, you need to click on that apply now card to move on to actually submit your application. So the first step is to build a profile, and then you move on to the apply now card to submit. Within that apply now card, there is 5 different steps that you need to complete in order for the submit button on the top right hand corner to become green and for you to be able to submit your information. So you can open up each of the steps from top to bottom. So first, you're going to open up the scholarship application step by clicking on Open, and that's going to ask that you provide what school you want to be you're going to be enrolled in the next academic year, what your major is going to be. In that step, you're also going to find different reflection questions, and I would love for all of you to spend some good time on those reflection questions. Oh, can we just go back real quick? Yeah, well, I'll go into the reflection questions like in just a sec. But I would love for all of you to spend a good amount of time in the reflection questions. I'll go into more detail about that in just a second. So once you've completed the scholarship application step, you can click on Mark as complete, and that's going to bring you back on here, and you can just do the same thing with each of these steps, right? We want you to go ahead and give us your resume if that's something that you have ready. That's not required for you to submit the application or be considered for scholarships. But if you give us your resume information, we'll consider you for professional development opportunities. So awesome stuff, because I'm sure that when you all graduate college, you want to move on to something different and pursue an awesome job and things like that. And yeah, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. Awesome. Yeah. So those reflection questions. So we have three different reflection questions, and they are all super, super important. This is a chance for you to share who you are, your story, what makes you unique. This is a really good opportunity for you to tell us more about yourself, right? There is three reflection questions. Like I said, they're limited to only 300 words. So take the time to write down your questions on a Word document before you put them into the application itself. Make sure that you are answering the prompt of the question clearly and completely. Make sure that you have a friend or a family member review your answers to make sure that they are proofread and that things make sense, and that you really let us know why is it that you're pursuing a scholarship. What is the meaning of higher education to you, and really what do you want to do with your education? How do you want to contribute back to Indian country once you graduate? So these are the questions. First is, what challenges have you overcome to attend college? Second question is, what are your educational goals and career goals? And how will the scholarship help you achieve them? And how will you use your education to impact your native nation or Indian country? This is your chance to tell us your story. This is your chance to be unique, to set yourself apart from other candidates. So take the time to give us good answers here. Give us detail. Give us your story. We want to hear about this. And this is really what's going to set you apart from the competition, because scholarships, ours and all other scholarships out there are competitive, right? So you want to make sure that you give us a compelling story. And so really take the time. It's only three questions and they're only 300 words each. So really take the time to craft good answers and make sure that someone that you trust proofreads them to make sure they're good. So this goes back to that application step. It's really important that you think about what your goals or your plans are going to be for the fall of 2022. And you can start planning ahead too, right? If you're a current college student, you can tell us when you expect to graduate. You can also tell us on the application step if you have previously attended a tribal college. And we have this special question here for students that are descendants of a boarding school survivor to tell their story. This is a really impactful question. So I encourage you to be mindful when you're answering this question, and to consult and talk with your family members. Um, and this, if you are a survivor or a descendant of a boarding school survivor, rather, answering this question would allow you to be considered for a special award that we have for those types of students. So, if you remember earlier when we were looking at within the application card, there is those five different steps. This is one of them. It's called the education history. And so this is an opportunity for you to tell us what your education history is. Um, Everybody has some type of education history. If you're a current high school student, you want to put that in, you can click on add new item and you can tell us, hey, currently I'm a high school student and I'm going to be graduating in the spring of 2022. And then I'm going to be going to a different school. If you are, let's say, an older college student and you've moved around from different schools, you can add all of the history here, and you can start by telling us your high school, the first college that you attended, the second college that you attended, and so forth. This step here is intended to capture all of your education history. So you want to make sure that you're thorough and give us as much information as possible.
And then the next two sections will also look almost identical to this for the extracurricular activities and honors and distinctions. They'll be set up the same way. You'll click that new item button to add things about, clubs that you're in, leadership positions that you've had, volunteer work that you do, and you can add as many of those as you want. So, well, it says there's a maximum of 500. So hopefully you don't reach 500, but you can put as many of those honors, distinctions, extracurriculars, volunteer work, all those types of things. You just keep clicking that new item button. And then when you're done, just up there at the top right, you would hit close, and that will take you back to that application dashboard.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. I often get questions from students asking me, hey, how come I wasn't awarded? What can I do to improve my chances? Taking the time to give us as much information about who you are is hands down that, and applying by May 31st. Those two things are hands down the most useful and impactful tricks that I can give anybody to complete a good application, a strong application, and have a good chance to be considered. The more information that you give us about who you are, that is complete, thorough, um, and detailed, the more that we'll get to know who you are, and we'll be able to base our awarding decisions based on that. So let's go to the next slide, please. So yeah, so going back to within the application card, these are all of those steps, right? As you can see, the resume there doesn't say required in that middle column or complete. It says optional because, like I said, that is not required, but it is you're highly encouraged to submit your resume information on there so that we can consider you for professional development opportunities and internships. Once you have completed the 4 required steps here, you're going to see that the application button on the top right hand side of the screen becomes green. Once you click on that, you cannot go back and edit any information. So it is super, super, super important that before you click on submit, that you know that your application is exactly how you want to turn it in. Because once you click submit, you cannot go back and make any edits. Okay, so that's super, super important. Within our website, we also have additional scholarship tips that you can go here and find tips for how you can submit a strong application. There is a link within the landing page of the portal below you enter the application card to this website. So I encourage you to take the time to check out this portal and or rather check out this page so you can learn how we give you ideas and suggestions on how to craft good short answers, how you can edit your prompts, what the difference is between the profile and the application, and other technical details like how you can prove this and different things like that.
And I'll go ahead and take back over here, and Juan will stay on. And we're going to be answering questions soon because we're almost done with our presentation. But I do want to point out that even though the full circle application is open to every single native student who meets the eligibility requirements, we do have additional scholarship opportunities to those attending tribal colleges and universities. So for those of you who aren't familiar with TCUs or tribal colleges and universities, they're accredited institutions that offer vocational, bachelor's, and some of them even have graduate programs in a lot of the fields that you may have interested in. Most of these are on or near reservation communities as well. The class offerings, a lot of what they're putting forward is infused with traditional knowledge. They have a lot of really great cultural events and programming that are a part of their student life and what they offer. And really, these institutions are almost like families. They're not huge, giant schools. They're very tight knit organizations. People know them. If you go to your financial aid officer, they're going to know your first name. Your teachers, professors. Not going to be a big hall full of students. It's going to be very close knit groups. So there's a lot of advantages to this. And you can also kind of, check out different tribal colleges and what they have to offer on our website as well too. And those are kind of in our related links pages. So We're almost done, but not quite done yet. So, do you think that the College Fund offers more than scholarships to Native students? Yes, no, say I'm done with it. Give me my prize. Let me fill out my survey. So, yes, of course, we offer a lot of additional supports, not only to the scholars that we select, but even to you as a prospective student, even if you're not awarded. So many scholarships that we award, they include additional supports. That could be coaching, that could be convention opportunities, conferences, it could be internships, career planning resources, lots of different things that are offered. And a lot of these things are available to both scholars and non-scholars, but you must be a scholar to apply for our student ambassador program, which is very coveted. That's something that's available every year, where we select students to represent us and tell their stories to those donors and people that don't know the college fund but want to know the students that we serve. Now, there are a lot of other tools and resources that we have that are available. We have the Native Pathways College Going Guidebook. Um, we have the Connect platform, which is almost kind of like a light version of LinkedIn that allows you to network, to view career resources, to find out about events, internship opportunities, things of that nature. We have our Career Pathways Guidebook, which is kind of like the second half of your educational journey when you're headed towards your career, things to think about. And all these are written from the perspective of students and Native professionals that have been there and want to share their knowledge with you. And then Focus 2, which is our education and career assessment. This is something that's available to you if you're not quite certain what area you want to study, if you want to try to find out a little bit more about industries or career paths that would connect with some of your interests. All these things are available to our scholars, but most of them are also available to just any student that's interested. Another great tool that we have are our newsletters, both our scholarship newsletter and our Connect newsletter, has a lot of internship, research, and grant opportunities. You can sign up for both of those at collegefund.org/stay hyphen connected. So if you go to that page, you can sign up for those, and every month you'll be sent basically an email that has a ton of scholarship, internship, research, grant opportunities, all the types of things that you may be looking for, because most of our scholarships are not expected to be a full ride. They're not expected to completely fund your education. And we want to help you to find other opportunities, whether they're specifically for Native students, if they're in an industry that you're interested in, if you want to become an engineer or a journalist or something of that nature. You can find those resources in these newsletters that we send out every month. Goes out to tens of thousands of students and counselors and parents and supporters. So please sign up for this and you'll get those opportunities in your inbox every month. And then, of course, our social media platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then now we have TikTok as well too. They're all at Native Pathways. If you follow us on those, you'll see a lot of those same opportunities we put in the newsletter, but be putting them out every day. And there will be some additional opportunities that we don't put in the newsletter as well. But we will remind you of deadlines. We put a lot of great Native news in there as well too. If we have special opportunities, like for instance, our Pendleton Tribal College Blanket Design Competition, we highlight that and other things that may be available to students or scholars. So be sure to follow us on all of those platforms if you can. And look at that. We're already at the end of our presentation time. So I'm going to ask Ben to put the link into the chat. If you want to just go ahead and complete the survey and get off the call and you don't have any questions, that's fine. But basically for this last half of the hour, both Juan and I will try to answer as many of your questions as possible. Like I said, we will be recording all this so you can watch it at a later time. But if you just want to click the survey and get entered into to win some of those items, you're happy to do that. And this next step is our chance to use Menti again. So I'm going to bring up that screen here. You can use your QR code or go to menti.com at 65785545. You can log in here and you can put your questions into Menti, or like I said, we'll also be looking through the chat to kind of identify questions that either we didn't answer, or maybe someone has a slightly different view or perspective on something that we presented. We want to provide as much of that as possible in the next 25 to 30 minutes. So, here we go. We've already have some questions in Menti. And why don't you go first, Juan? You can take one of these and expound away.
That sounds good. Let me see. Let me see what's coming through here. Um, the average amount. Yeah, that's a good question. The average amount really varies from student to student depending on what award they're assigned. I think typically, I just did the stats for or full circle award. I think it's about $1,500 per semester, so about around 3,000 for the academic year. That tends to be the average. Some awards are a little higher, some of them are a little lower, but the average per semester is about $1,500. So that's a good question. I wanted to also answer a question that I saw here on the chat that's really pertinent to the time of the year right now. The question is, what if fall is your first semester, right? So what if you're a current high school student? This is your last year. You're getting ready to go to prom soon. You just went to a winter ball and you're getting to graduate and excited to go to college in the fall. Hey, you can apply for scholarships if you're going to be attending an accredited university in the fall and you meet all of our other scholarship criteria. You can apply. And so you can provide your high school transcript and GPA information on the application and let us know, hey, I plan to attend whatever school in the fall semester with whatever major. You can apply if you are a current high school student that is graduating this year and you plan to enroll in the fall of 2022, you're going to be eligible.
Well, I went back to the earlier part of the chat because I want to get some of those people who had written in questions earlier. One person had asked about if there's a percentage of tribal blood that is required. Now, we don't have a percentage there. Our basis is based on enrollment and descendancy. So if your particular tribe has a requirement for a percentage of tribal blood, obviously you would need that to either enroll, or your parents or grandparents would need that for you to be a descendant. But there's no requirement for that for us.
Mhm.
And then I had one other student ask, what if fall is your first semester? So because of the way that our system works, we fund for the next school year. So if you started in the fall, you would probably be best to apply for the upcoming school year after that. If actually if fall would be the normal, that's when you normally have your first semester anyway. I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking of that. So I think maybe the question you might be asking is if you started in the spring, because that would be halfway through the year. You would be applying for the next year. The main thing that we're worried about is if you are a full-time student. And then I had one other question that someone had asked about, what if life happens and you expect to be a full-time student and you're a part-time student? If you're awarded, would you still receive that award? Now that gets to be kind of a tricky part there. If your situation changes, and another thing we didn't cover very heavily was talking about if your situations change, is you will need to reach out to our staff to update us. So let's say that you were going to go to South Dakota State University and your plans change and now you're going to go to Oglala Lakota College. You would need to tell us if you've already submitted your application so we can update your school, but that could also affect the types of awards that would be available to you. Like if you're going from a state school to a tribal college, obviously there would be a chance for more awards for you. So you would need to contact us. And then if there's not a possibility for that, we do try to work with different schools. I know especially with tribal colleges, if there's part-time students that need help, they have more capacity to do that than we do as the college fund. So it would depend, but you do need to reach out to us. So why don't you go back one if you see some questions that you see
You bet.
and put this up.
Yeah, yeah. So here's a good one. Somebody asked if the applicant, when a student applies for scholarships, if they need to be eligible for financial aid. So this is a really good question. This is someone that really knows what's happening with the funding of college, and I love this question. I was a financial aid counselor before I came on board with the college fund, and the short answer is no. You don't have to submit a FAFSA to be eligible for scholarships. But if you submit a FAFSA, that is the greatest other method to receive funding to go to school, right? So if you haven't heard of it, FAFSA, that's the free application for federal student aid, and all students going to college should complete it. All of you. It's not a requirement for enrollment. It's not a requirement to be eligible for our scholarships, but it is a requirement to be eligible for grants and work study and student loans. And so, hey, if you submit the FAFSA and let's say that you get the Pell Grant and work study and you get an award from us, you can just stack all those awards, and all of that is money that you can use toward your cost of attendance. So again, it is not a requirement that you complete the FAFSA to be eligible for our awards, but it is in your best interest to complete both the FAFSA and our application for scholarships. So that's a really good question from someone um, that really knows what's going on the back end of how school is paid for. So I love that question. I see a school, or I see a question about vocational school, if that counts as college. And the answer is yes. Yeah, if you are pursuing, maybe you're going to a trade school because you want to be a plumber or an electrician, and or something like that. Vocational schools are eligible for awards. The one nuance there is that you have to be going to that vocational program at an accredited nonprofit institution, right? So let's say that you're going to your local community college to become an electrician, and you're doing the trades program, that would qualify. But let's say that you're going to a private for-profit university to become an auto technician. For-profit private schools are not don't fit our guidelines of being accredited. So that's a good nuance there to keep in mind.
And another part of that too is if you are attending like a vocational or technical school, it does need to be an associate's degree
Yeah.
that you're trying to complete. So I know that a lot of our tribal colleges offer those opportunities, but it does need to be, there's a slight bit of a technicality there. I do know that with our scholarship opportunities that we offer for California tribal members, it can be a certificate program, but that's the only exception to that. For any other schools, as long as you're seeking an associate's degree, you can apply, you would be eligible for that. In addition to that, too, we do have graduate opportunities available too. Now, obviously, they aren't as large a part of the total number of scholarships that we offer. But if you are seeking a graduate degree, you're more than welcome to apply. Like I said, there aren't as many opportunities. I had one person ask how many opportunities we offer. I think I mentioned in the presentation last cycle, which would have been last year for Full Circle, we awarded over $9 million to almost 4,000 students. I think it was like 3,960 some or something of that nature. But we won't know exactly how much money we'll have and how many students we'll be awarding until we get to the awarding cycle this summer. But it will be probably more than that. We've increased almost every single year. We've been in existence for, I think we're over 33 years now that the College Fund has been awarding. So that is a good question, but those opportunities are available. So Juan, you see any others here?
Let's take a look. What if Fournette said on your major? Yeah, that's okay. I think I read a stat not too long ago that most college students change their major like 3 times during their undergraduate career. So that is okay. Like David said, once you submit the application, none of the information provided there can be changed. And some scholarships that we award to folks are major dependent. So if you file an application and you say, hey, I want to be an engineer, and you file that right now, and then come summertime, you've really thought about things and you want to pursue something different, just send us an email. You can reach us at any time at scholarships@collegefund.org. Again, that's scholarships with an S at collegefund.org. And you can just let us know that you've submitted an application, give us your full name so we can locate your file, and let us know what aspects of your application you would like updated, and we can do that for you on the back end, no problem. But it is important that you keep us posted. That also applies if you decide to go to a different school, like David said, or if you maybe decide to not be going to school altogether. Also let us know, because then we can pull your application from the pile and potentially award that to someone else. Can I apply it even though I was denied last year? Yes, absolutely. And let me actually give a nuance there to that, reframe that question a little bit. Students are not necessarily denied from scholarships. We have more scholarship applicants that we have funding for. So it's not necessarily that we deny funding to students, is that we oftentimes don't have enough funding for everybody that applies. And so the application process is competitive, right? So that's why I want to encourage you all to give us as much information as you can in your application. Um, yes, you can reapply every year. As a matter of fact, if you were previously not funded, you should reapply so that you can be reconsidered for funding. And this time when you reapply, try to give us as much information as you can. And on the flip side, if you were previously funded, you also need to reapply because our scholarships are renewable, but they don't renew automatically. You have to submit an application every year for you to be reconsidered for a renewal of your scholarship. So that's a really good question. Let's see
I
here.
also,
What
yeah,
else?
I also saw a question about when you should apply in high school. So you'll be applying for the next school year. So that would be you going into college the next school year. So that would be all seniors. If you're in high school, would be applying for going to be a full-time student in college the next school year, that 2022-2023 school year. I saw some people ask, is it okay if I'm a sophomore? Is it okay if I'm going into a dual program, like if they're doing an MA and a JD, which we actually have one of our past scholarship recipients is doing that now. It does not matter what type of program you're going into, as long as you meet those minimum requirements, full-time student, attending a nonprofit accredited institution. Those are the main things that you need to worry about. We don't have a list of schools that meet those requirements. You just need to know from the institution that you're going to, are they a nonprofit school? That's going to be the vast majority of colleges and institutions that are out there. Like University of Phoenix is a for-profit school. You can't go to that one and get an online degree. We wouldn't be able to support you. So they should be able to tell you that. And they need to be accredited. Accredited means that they have gotten an accreditation from an accrediting body, usually within at the national or state level. And the institution should be able to tell you that. Those would also be the institutions that would take things like the GI Bill or federal aid, because you can't get those types of aids to go to non-accredited institutions. They don't accept those either. So that's a good hint for you if you're looking for, the way to find that out.
Yeah. And if you're not sure if your school is accredited or if your school would qualify, just send us an email and we can very easily look into that for you. So I'm seeing more of those FAFSA questions. I want to reiterate one more time. Financial need is not a requirement for our scholarships. So in the scholarship world, there is two different kinds of awards. There is merit-based and need-based. Need-based are those awards where you submit the FAFSA and the FAFSA identifies that you have need. Those are not our scholarships. Our scholarships are merit-based. That means that regardless of your FAFSA information or whether you filed one or not, we're going to determine your eligibility for our awards based on the merit that you show on your application, not based on the need, right? So again, no need to worry about financial need per the FAFSA. You're not required to file the FAFSA, but I cannot stress this enough. The greatest avenue to find multiple sources of funding and attend to school with the least amount of debt is to apply for scholarships, to seek other scholarships outside of the college fund, and to file the FAFSA. So that's super, super important. How many hours are required for full time? Oh, that's a great question. So for undergraduate students, full time is defined as 12 credit hours per semester. Typically, one class is 3 credit hours. So if you're taking like English 101 and you're going to lecture 3 times a week for an hour, typically those classes are three credit hours. So full time for undergraduate students is 12 credit hours per semester or per quarter if your school is on the quarter system. For graduate students, that's 9 credit hours per semester or per quarter. So that is a requirement to be considered and to receive your scholarship. Let's take a look here. Let's keep reading through these questions.
And I've seen a lot of questions about part-time opportunities. Right now, the Full Circle Scholarship is not available to part-time students. we wish we could fund every single person that applied, but that's just not possible. However, that is something that we're looking into for next year. So I wish I had better news for you if that's all that you can do. But just like Juan said, be sure that you come back and apply to us every year because we have students that graduate, we have new donor opportunities, and there may be new opportunities for part-time or summer or things of that nature in the future. We don't know right now, but we would encourage you to come back or share this opportunity with others if you don't specifically meet the eligibility requirements.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, let's keep scrolling through these questions. Is a scholarship only available for students in native schools? So I think native schools, you mean a tribal college or a university? And the answer to that is no. Full circle scholarships are available for students attending tribal colleges and universities for sure, but they're also available for students attending what we call mainstream institutions, right? So those are your state or your local community college or your state college. We're based here in Colorado. So for example, Colorado State, the University of Colorado or the University of Colorado Boulder, those big names, the University of Arizona, all of those schools are classified as mainstreams, right? Your state or your local colleges or universities, and students are eligible to receive full circle funding, whether they're going to a tribal college or university or a mainstream college or university. So that's a really good question. Oh, when are award decisions made? Great question. That's a really, really good question. So we taking applications all the way until the end of May, the 31st. Like David said, and like we're pitching the event today, the application opened today, and we'll be reviewing applications after May 31st. Typically, we do awards and award notices at the end of July or beginning of August. When you are awarded, you will receive an email from us, and your portal where you went in to apply will also update. You will notice that on the portal after your application is submitted, it says that it's currently under review or pending review. It'll stay with that status up until the end of July. And at that point, that status will update to say something like awarded or not awarded or selected or not selected. And then you can go on there and you'll see more information about the award that you received, how much it is for, and other steps that you need to complete to actually have the money dispersed to you and your school. So typically you want to be patient with us, and we'll be contacting you, telling you if you were an awarded student or not awarded toward the end of July or the beginning of August. But that's typically the awarding timeline.
And another question that I saw, which is a really good question because it applies to a lot of our students, is does your award have to be used for a specific purpose? And that is no. We have a lot of students that cover other expenses outside of their education to make it possible for them to go to school. So that's, fixing a car, that's getting internet access, that's paying for childcare. We have a lot of students that use the money for that. Now, the money is delivered to your institution. So they will be the ones that have that. And it will depend on your institution as far as what their guidelines and policies are as to how that money can be, dispersed to you. But we don't have any restrictions on, this must be for tuition or this must be for books or anything of that nature. You can use it for whatever is going to make it possible for you to attain your education and career goals. And I've also seen a lot of other questions in the chat, especially the Zoom chat, about just technical questions about the application. Do I click on this? Do I go here? If Ben can put this in the chat again too, and Juan's mentioned this a few times, we have email, we have an 800 number. You can contact our staff during regular business hours, Monday to Friday. We have the chat bot, which I think was mentioned once or twice, but that is a 24/7 assistant to help you with specific things that's also on our website. You can reach out to us at any time that you run into one of these little snags. Now, of course, we would encourage you to look at that walkthrough video, to go to those application tips or the FAQs pages, the frequently asked questions, to see if there's maybe a specific question that you're asking that we can already answer. I've seen a lot of questions about enrollment in that space too. And we even have some links specifically to the BIA site or things of that nature. I do know that, especially if you're in a smaller tribe or some place that's more rural or remote, there may not be admin staff from your tribe available 365, a year to process enrollment or renew or things of that nature. And that's something that you actually need to think about and need to plan for when you're doing your application. Now, if you don't have your specific enrollment for your tribe, maybe you'll have to use your parents or grandparents for this year and be sure that you get your paperwork in early for the following year so you can have your enrollment. But we do provide a couple of resources there and kind of some tips, but that is something you need to take into account. One of our staff members, she had some problems getting her enrollment because of subsistence fishing and some agricultural work, and their tribe shuts down for that seasonal period when they're doing subsistence, and she had to wait until after that time. So you need to be thinking about those things ahead of time if those are documentations that you need.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else.
We've got about 5 more minutes, so we'll try to answer as many more questions as we can.
So I like this question regarding how many people in a family group can apply for a scholarship? That's a good question because you may be going to school, you might have a sibling who's going to school, you might have a parent who's also going to school. And the answer is we would like to see an application from all of you. Um, as long as you all meet the criteria for the type of student that is eligible and you're attending the type of school that is eligible, as we have touched on so far, as many people within your family group are welcome to submit an application. Now, you would be submitting an application for yourself if you're going to school. Your sibling would be submitting an application for themselves and so forth, right? You cannot submit an application on behalf of someone else. So that's important to note. Um, yeah, so keep that in mind. I've also seen a few questions here regarding advanced degrees. So for those folks who are enrolled in a master's program or in a doctorate program, and um, I know firsthand how challenging graduate school is. I got my master's 3, 4 years ago, and that was a really tough and challenging academic experience. Unfortunately, the guideline for us for enrollment is 9 units is the minimum to be enrolled, even if your program or your school recommends that you take less units or courses per term. Different schools have different guidelines or recommendations because of the rigor of the program and different things like that. And at this time, we're just not equipped to, like David said, award students enroll part-time. So for graduate students, the minimum enrollment requirement is 9 units per semester, 9 credit hours per semester or quarter. And for undergraduate students, which would be associates and bachelor students, would be 12 credits per semester or per quarter. So that's a really good
And
question.
and this is a perfect time to mention that all those different communications methods that we mentioned before, the newsletters, the social media, all those types of things, we share scholarship opportunities for lots of different other organizations that can help to fill those gaps, because
Mhm.
we wish Juan and I wish we could be everything to everyone and help you meet all these needs, but we do have to set certain guidelines in place for the money, especially what the donors, what they want to support. So if you do have a need, please, follow us on social media, sign up for that newsletter, because we share tons of other opportunities in the graduate space, other Native organizations, other minority serving organizations. I know even organizations like the United Negro College Fund offer scholarships that Native students can apply for, because a lot of those are focused on minority students. So we will share a lot of those opportunities through those newsletters, through social media, and things of that nature. And we want you to find the funding that you need. Unfortunately, it can't always be through us. We really want you to come to us and consider us a solution for your financial needs for school, but we realize we can't do it all. So be sure to sign up for those things. I'm sure that Ben can put the sign up links in the chat again, if you need a link to those. But if you just go to our website, collegefund.org/scholarships, you'll be able to find links to all of those resources in our social media. And we started this year, we have a lot of great Native artists and creators on social media that are sharing information about the scholarships too. So you may even see people like Stephen Paul Jed or Modern Warrior, or people sharing about our scholarship opportunities with the links. So even if you forget something, feel free to reach out to us, contact our staff or go to our website and look for those types of contacts.
Let me answer one more question real quick and we can wrap it up with that. This is a pretty straightforward question that I get all the time. And the question is, do our scholarships also offer or cover the summer semester? The answer to that is no, not right now. We are having conversations to fund students over the summer, but that may be for future years. But at this point, our scholarships only cover the fall and the spring semester. If you are on the quarter system, we do one disbursement at the beginning of what is typically the start of the fall semester, or if you're on the quarter in August or September, we do the first disbursement, and then the second disbursement happens at the end of January, beginning of February. So our scholarships don't cover the summer just yet, but that might change in the future. So that's why you want to sign up for all of our different methods of communication.
Well, I'll take this opportunity to wrap up for us. I wish we had more time, and we will have other events coming up throughout the semester, and even office hours where we'll be able to specifically be online for you to answer your questions or to help you with your application. Feel free to go to that survey again. The link is right there. Ben can put that into the chat again. But we really appreciate you coming to this event and wanting to learn more about the opportunities that the American Indian College Fund offers. Our goal, our whole team's goal, is to connect you with these opportunities to help you meet your education and career goals. It doesn't matter what age you are, what your goals are, if you're wanting to study, a science degree, or you want to work in a more technical field, we want to help you realize those things. So please apply. Please share this with other students, and please look at the resources that we have that are available outside of just the scholarships too, because we have some great guidebooks, some great tools that are really going to help Native students to kind of navigate not only college choice, but how to pick a school, how to pick majors, how to network, how to get an internship. There's so many different things we offer, events throughout the semester, a lot of different things. So feel free to come back to us with any specific needs that you have, and we hopefully can connect you with something that'll help you with your goals. So thank you again for attending. We really appreciate you being here with us. I'll stop our screen share. It's about to snow a huge amount in Denver, so we all need to get ready for that. But thank you so much for attending, and we will see you soon at another event. So take care.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Thank you for being here today and coming.